So yeah, the current, for lack of a better word, like media takedown of Caitlin Clark is it's gone. It's kind of gone past the stage where it's like, okay, this is normal. Because what has Caitlin Clark done? Caitlin Clark has, if we're being real, she has gone and played what are the two best defensive games of her career. And yeah, I know she got burned by Astia, but like Astia literally at the end of the game is like, we know Caitlin's on 5 fouls. And Caitlin could not afford to foul out of that game. Like, giving up 2 points is better than Caitlin fouling out, because the Indiana Fever had a 50 offensive rating with Caitlin Clark off the floor, and it was like 110 with her on the floor. It was really bad. It was really, really bad yesterday with Caitlin off. That being said, it's one of those things where a lot of people are like blaming Stephanie White, and I don't believe it. Like, I don't think it's Stephanie White, because I'm going to be real here. If we saw the way that Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White at the end of the Atlanta Dream game, and I think, look, I'm going to be real here. I think Stephanie White's the wrong coach for Caitlin Clark. Look, I think I'm of the opinion that the Indiana Fever, if you take any emotion out of it and you go fully into just basketball talk, the Indiana Fever should trade Caitlin Clark. It makes the most sense. Like, you have a system that you know can at least that can give you a puncher's chance in the playoffs. And unfortunately, you've got one player that wants to play that system in Kelsey Mitchell and one who doesn't in Caitlin Clark. But you've got this article being written by somebody who has a link to Amber Cox. An awful lot of the most, like, I mean this when I say this, an awful lot of the worst hit pieces on Caitlin Clark are coming from people that have ties to the front office of the Indiana Fever. That's where you're like, okay, something's gone wrong here. And I'm sorry, it still brings me back to this. Third quarter of a game, Caitlin Clark makes a 3-pointer. This game is still on. Caitlin Clark looks like herself again. She's getting hyped. Stephanie White's crying. Like, Stephanie White, in the middle of a game, Caitlin Clark had a unbelievable 3-minute stretch where she looked like herself again. Stephanie White's literally crying. Like, we can say what we want, but we need to be honest here. Like, this is not a normal reaction. This is the reaction of somebody. I've said this tons of times. I am not like, look, I'll criticize Stephanie White's coaching. I don't think Stephanie White should be a coach for Caitlin Clark. I won't criticize Stephanie White, the human. You're not going. This is not where you're going to see that. You're not going to hear talk of sabotage. You're not going to hear talk of any of that, because I would be 99% sure that both Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White wanted to work. And Caitlin Clark's talking about, with all the media stuff that's going on, all the theories that the Fever are trying to get rid of it. Complex just wrote an article about Caitlin Clark potentially being traded. Like, it's at the stage now where, yes, it did start off by nothing, but enough people are believing it's going to happen. Like, enough people are believing that it's going to happen. But I'm going to be completely real here. This is the face of somebody who clearly wants Caitlin Clark to remain on the team, who knows something's going on. If nothing else, like, and it doesn't seem like tears of sadness, it could literally have been, Caitlin's back. This is Caitlin. They're not going to trade her. Because let's be real, the one person who's not like, if Caitlin Clark's going to be traded, she's going to be traded in a Luka Doncic situation. She will be traded without her agent knowing. She will be traded without knowing herself. Like, Caitlin Clark is a player who plays on emotion, who plays with emotion. Like, emotion is a lot of her game. Like, she is absolutely going to be, like, if she's traded, it's going to be a secret one. She'll find out when we find out, probably, if she goes and gets traded. And you just kind of know that's the way this is happening. And Stephanie White will know before Caitlin Clark if Caitlin Clark is going to be traded as well. I'm going to be real here. Like, Caitlin Clark is not going to be somebody that has full idea that she's that she's even on the trading block. But the more I see this, the more you're like, people with ties to the front office are writing hit pieces. Because let's be very real. All sports journalism, and in everything, you are going to be a bit softer if you know somebody. Like, look, if you've got ties to the Indiana Fever franchise, you're going to give them the benefit of the doubt in a lot of situations. If you got ties to Amber Cox, and let's be very real, this article heavily implies that Caitlin Clark got Scott Agnes fired. Or Caitlin Clark was the reason as part of the reason why Scott Agnes is fired. Like, I'm sorry. Or guys for credentials removed. I'm sorry. If that was like, that is a nonsense, seemingly nonsense like statement to be made. And let's be very real. Like, if this was made about Stephanie White, or this implication was made about Stephanie White, the organization would come in. And I'm going to be real. A year ago, like, we saw 2 years ago when Lexi Hull was this close to being cut and she started making shots, the way that Caitlin Clark reacted post-Olympic break when Lexi started making shots. That's someone being like, it was a similar way where it's like, when you see one of your friends who you know, you've seen it in so many sports, when you know somebody's about to be traded, when you know somebody's about to be cut, and they're your friend, and all of a sudden they get their chance, and they're hooping. When one of your friends gets a chance on a team, and you'll gladly sit on a bench. You're going to do everything you can to help them. And it just feels like, and this was almost it with Stephanie White, where it's like, this is not a normal reaction to someone hitting a three-point shot. Caitlin Clark had hit a three-point shot earlier in the game. It was that spell. This feels like, it feels different. It really does. And like, I'm going to take Stephanie White out of this. Because, again, everybody wants something to work until it just can't. And I think we're at the stage now where I feel like if you're still trying to make Stephanie White and Caitlin Clark work, you're just delaying the inevitable. And I believe that the organization has pretty much, based on all their own actions, they've pretty much confirmed that of the two of them, Steph is staying. And this just feels like it's a coordinated media attempt to get off her. Because let's be honest, like, Caitlin Clark is not seeing what's being written here. Like, she's hearing secondhand what's being written in the media, and it's basically telling people, oh, don't believe what's in the media, don't believe what's in the media. The unfortunate thing is that I think the locker room itself isn't being destroyed by this. I think it's the front office. I think it's above the locker room. I don't think this is a issue with Caitlin and the players. I don't think there's an issue with Steph and the players. I don't think this is an issue with Steph and Caitlin. I think this goes above board. And I think they're going out of their way. Like, this reminds me of how Nico Harrison, when he traded Luka, went and every single person that was linked with Nico Harrison was putting a slander piece about Luka Doncic when he was traded. This feels like them trying to pull a Nico, except instead of putting the slander out after the trade, setting up the trade so that you don't get booed. Make your own fans turn on Caitlin. Like, the day they can make their own fans turn on Caitlin Clark is the day that they can be okay to make a trade. Or the day they can make their own fans indifferent on Caitlin Clark. And we're getting very close to that. Like, I don't think people understand. The New York Liberty have sold out every single weekend game this season, except for yesterday. Yesterday was the first weekend game the New York Liberty haven't sold out on the season. The Indiana Fever's attendance. The Indiana Fever couldn't sell out Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese. Probably 8,000 people showed up to the Portland game. it was bad. It's been really bad. And the gate revenue for the Fever is not what it was. The merch revenue for the Fever is not what it was. The thing is now, all the people that were buying normal WNBA jerseys don't go to the team. I don't know if it's via the team shop. Maybe they do directly. But if you buy a Caitlin Clark jersey from Nike, the team doesn't make any. That's league-wide revenue. And if we're being honest, a lot of people aren't buying general Indiana Fever merch anymore because Caitlin Clark now has her line. So people want to support Caitlin Clark aren't giving you money anymore. That money that you were getting from selling Caitlin Clark stuff. That money's gone. That's money is going directly to Nike, with Caitlin Clark directly making a cut off it. It's one of those things now where this just feels like they're trying to get off her. And let's be real, after the Atlanta Dream game, I think this was in the drafts. Because this hit piece came immediately after Caitlin Clark blamed herself for a loss. Basically talking about Caitlin basically being a spoiled brat and taking no accountability when she blamed herself for a loss where she was the only guard that even had a competent game. I'm not saying Caitlin played well. I'm saying Caitlin didn't play badly. The rest of the guards were horrific. Kelsey Mitchell had one of the worst games I've ever seen her play. It's just a pity. It's just a pity. But yeah, it is it is what it is. And I think we're going to potentially see, I think it'll be weird where she goes. But I just don't see how this is recoverable. Because the basketball is not going to be good enough. I don't think there's anything wrong with their relationship, but I do think the basketball is going to be isn't going to be good enough to make up for this. But yeah, that's pretty much it. See you guys.